Leon Edwards versus Kamaru Usman is this weekend, and everybody thinks Kamaru's going to run through Leon. Here's why we might be all wrong. We're going to forget about the names of these two fighters, and we're going to look at a few of their tendencies and past experiences and how that can be exploited on the side of Leon. So Usman likes to move forward in most of his fights in a straight line. He doesn't do too much side-to-side movement unless his opponents have forced him to, which he's shown to have to stand in the center while they sort of move around him, and he's continuously trying to back them up towards the cage. Kamaru keeps his striking very fundamental and very straight punching based. He wants to get their back right up to the cage so he can push in on them, enter the clinch work, and that's where Kamaru does his best grappling work. It's no secret that Kamaru Usman's knees have been deteriorating over the second half of his career, and I think that's why you've seen his style change. He likes to say that he's done it to be more entertaining and to feel like he's in a fight. I personally think he doesn't quite have the same offensive wrestling skills and capabilities that he did in his earlier career. It's why he doesn't really take too many open takedown attempts in the middle of the octagon, right? He really almost entirely waits until you're within a few inches of the octagon fence. So if Leon's corner has picked up on that, notice that from their last fight, what he needs to do is introduce side-to-side movement and double his pace of punches. Kamaru does like to throw straight shots up the middle, like I said. If Leon's constantly moving off to one direction, he can make Kamaru miss and make him pay. That's what he needs to do continuously is the first thing to begin making this fight look completely different from the last two. If you watch back the last few fights, Kamaru was leading the dance even in the striking department way too much. Again, Leon needs to look at that and understand that if I make Kamaru miss more with my footwork, Leon traditionally isn't the best footwork guy. He's a very technical fundamental striker, but he stays planted. He bobs up and down a little bit, but he's really not moving quite a lot like Colby Covington was in their second and first fight. Leon wasn't throwing more volume than Kamaru either. He was waiting for hard counter shots, leading every now and then, don't get me wrong, but Kamaru was mostly leading the dance in terms of the pace and volume. That being said though, it's not impossible for Leon to outdo Kamaru in that area this time. You got to remember their last fight was fought at altitude, which makes it much harder on your cardiovascular system, especially as a fighter when you're going through 5 tough rounds. And Kamaru Usman trains at altitude, so it's an advantage that he would be used to versus Edwards taking on that climate during fight week. So I'm not saying that will play a factor into it, but I am saying it's possible it can. Consider subscribing if you're an MMA fan. I upload every week, and whether it's that or Leon training cardio much harder, if he's able to double up on his pace and output, whether or not it's landing, just again, move out of the way, side to side, not backwards towards the cage, try to keep himself as close to the center of the cage as possible, while countering and pushing off of that counter, causing Kamaru to be the one to actually take a few steps backwards, which is what you always want to do against a wrestler. Leon will win those rounds. So even if he does eventually get taken down at the end of the round or last 2 minutes of the round, which is very possible, Kamaru's relentless. Even if you're lighting him up, even if you've stuffed a few takedowns, he's going to keep trying. If he does get him down in the last 2 minutes, the judges will see so much more cumulative damage on the side of Leon that if Kamaru doesn't get down in like a crucifix and land elbows, there's a great shot that Leon will still win that round. And then let's say Kamaru can't get him down, which is very likely as well, especially with Leon's improved grappling ability. And if his footwork keeps him from being on the back near the cage, there's a good likelihood Kamaru doesn't even get him down. And then you look at the game plan and see, oh, well, Leon's been landing more than Kamaru. Leon's outthrown Kamaru. No takedown. Okay, round for Leon. Leon only needs to convincingly win 3 out of 5 rounds and then survive the other 2. If Leon can use his energy smart and make sure he excels in the pace and doesn't get taken down for 3 rounds, Leon will win those 3 rounds, and it puts Usman in a spot where he's in hostile territory and now he has to get the finish. And it makes me think of a very similar matchup that just happened recently. So look back to Islam versus Volk. Everybody thought Islam was going to push him up against the cage, take him down, pressure him, wear him down. How was Volk able to nullify that and arguably win the fight? Volk threw way more volume than any of Islam's past opponents have. You could see that out the gate. He was also constantly moving in and out. He never let Islam settle into one specific movement pattern for him to plan his takedown attempts. On top of that, Volk was able to actually stuff multiple takedown attempts while making Islam pay both with his energy and hitting him hard in every encounter. It turned Islam into a little bit of a striker, right? And I could definitely see Leon implementing a very similar game plan. In fact, I think that fight is an excellent fight to look back to get a game plan for Leon. Whenever Kamaru does enter the clinch, there's things Leon can do to make him pay. Not only can he break out of the clinch, hit him off the break, but Leon needs to put his own offensive wrestling takedown attempts in there. Whether or not he gets Kamaru, the fact that Kamaru was tripped and lost that round in their second fight, if Leon can do that even once in the entire fight, let alone more than once, in combination with everything else I just said, it puts Kamaru in such a bad spot where he absolutely needs to finish. And while Kamaru can get finished, he's shown finishing potential recently, he's always been traditionally more of a grind him out, win on decision type of guy. So when you take that away from him, and then you combine the fact he was just knocked out by you, you could see somebody like Kamaru rushing in and trying trying to do things a little out of character for his fighting style, which opens up the window for Leon to do something crazy again. Now, I don't think Leon's going to finish Kamaru in this fight. I personally see if Leon does win, he'll win a 48-47 decision, maybe even 4 rounds to 5 if he really does this game plan strong. But one thing I'm absolutely sure of, if Leon Edwards does win this weekend, it's going to look exactly like this. Do you guys think Leon Edwards is going to beat Kamaru Usman this weekend, or do you think Usman's going to absolutely run through Edwards? I'm going to have my final predictions coming out in just a few days here. Final true prediction of the whole event will be. So if you like this type of content, subscribe for more. I'm going to be uploading every single fight week, and we're going to take this channel to big heights this year. So definitely get a part of it now if you like what I'm doing.